Morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, November 17th, 2015. I am Dan Rubin, joined by Dwayne Long. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and change. We will get to Dwayne and all his football wranglings here in a second, but it's very important that we announce a huge deal here at Bucknuts. Obviously, everybody knows Michigan State is in town this weekend. 3:30 kickoff against the Buckeyes on Saturday. But for the fourth year in a row, College GameDay from ESPN, Sarah Street and Company, will be on the scene to cover the game. 3 regular season games and a Big Ten championship game. They've done them all. Now they're back. Here's what we need you to do if you want to win the Bucknuts ESPN College GameDay Challenge. As you well know, it is part and parcel with the event to get signed up behind the group. There's a security set up there. You've got to go in and take your sign in. So here's what we're willing to do. If you can get a sign on the College GameDay that is obviously related to Bucknuts, now that either it says Bucknuts, it's a giant picture of Bill Kurlick's head, it says, good BH, or why are you locking so many threads, something like that, and we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And then you can prove it was you who brought the sign in with some kind of video or photographic evidence. As a staff, we're going to make sure we get a look at everyone that gets on TV, and then we will vote, and the best sign will get a free yearly membership to Bucknuts. If you're a non-subscriber, that means you get on for a year. If you're currently a premium subscriber, we will just add a year to your membership. Bucknuts College GameDay Challenge. You got to get a sign in there, you got to get on TV, and it's got to be one of the best ones, and it's got to be Bucknuts-related. Now, we won't be so tough on related. If you're close, we'll give it to you, but that's the deal. Good luck. And remember, don't write a bunch of vulgar stuff on there or go over the top, because you have to get the sign by security. And my suggestion is you get there early. But if you put something vulgar on there, they're not going to let you through. Again, if you can get Bucknuts-related sign in there, we're going to look at all of them. We'll catalog it, and we will vote as a staff. Best sign gets a free membership for 1 year to Bucknuts. Dwayne, I'm sure you'll be there with a sign. What do you plan to put on your sign?
Naked jaunt.
See? Someone can pull off naked jaunt. I'm not going to say you're going to win, but very likely on the poll. But we don't bring in Dwayne to talk about signage. We bring Dwayne to talk about football. Many people think, at least the national media thinks, Ohio State's season starts this weekend. Dwayne, what is your biggest concern going into the Michigan State game?
Michigan State, big defensive line and aggressive defensive line. They really get after it. Good defensive line. And I still believe that the offensive line has just not performed like it did last year. At the end of last year, the guys dominated the line of scrimmage against anybody, even against Alabama. Now, last week, one of our posters, Old Buckeye, mentioned that Minnesota or Illinois may have been the best defensive line we've seen thus far this year, and they gave us fits, and Michigan State's going to be better. And the thing about D'Antonio, yeah, he's missing Narduzzi, but he's a defensive guy himself, and he's got that boa constrictor mentality. He'll tighten down on you. He'll be very physical. We need our offensive line to really rally and play well this weekend, or it's going to be a tougher game than what we thought. I think that's the key.
Dwayne, we brought 4 guys back on the offensive line. The only new starter is right tackle Chase Ferris, who was in there for Darryl Baldwin, who had a really good year last year, but was, in about his 10th year at Ohio State. What do you believe is the issue? They weren't having issues like this last year. Do you believe it's an individual issue? Do you believe they've been figured out? It can't all be Chase Ferris, can it?
Oh no, absolutely not. Chase Ferris has had his ups and downs, but he's been as solid as Baldwin's been. I just don't see where we can say that. I'm not going to go so far as to say he's been as solid as Baldwin, but he's been solid. The problem is that whenever I look and say what happened, and I do rewind, I see a consistent pattern of Bourne and Billy Price. Just they're not getting it done. Bourne it was always a thing about his size, and now teams have learned line somebody up on top of him. He's going to be outweighed. What are they trying to say, Dan? He's 280 or so? No, he's not. He's about 260 pounds, no more than 265. He's getting knocked around in there. I mean, the kid, he's still the same football player. It's just they figured out his kryptonite, and that is to put a large guy on him. And then once he gets stuffed, when your center is backing up into the quarterback, that play, it's over. Your center has to hold the point, and we're not getting that. And I think another thing, I'm seeing some exotic attempts to pass block. We're bringing a guy from the backside to the front side, and it's not working. It's really not. I've seen Billy Price get stuffed several times. He's not getting there. You're trying to move the pocket. I think that we're seeing not only in the offense the loss of Herman, how that's impacted it, but Warner spending some of his time on the game plan and preparing the offense and not with the offensive line. I think that's playing a role too.
Yeah, I've tried to not complain about or not stretch too much about Tom Herman's exit, but it's become clear that I'm not sure it's going to end up being a deal breaker in terms of their goals to win the national championship, but if you look at what Herman is doing where he is now, and you just remember the fluidity of the offense, and to me, the offensive coordinator makes his money on third down with clever calls and such. They were just a much better third down team with Herman at the controls. Hopefully that changes. In terms of Ohio State, what do you see as the biggest strength they're going to be able to exploit this weekend?
Ohio State's defensive line, our defensive line, is playing the last couple of games. Michael Hill has stepped in, and it's solidified. You look at Bosa, Washington, and Lewis, and you're looking at probably, arguably, the three best that have played. If you're just looking at three linemen, it's front four. You need four. Now with Hill in there, they are playing dominating football versus the run, getting pressure. Whenever think about the play, I know you remember it. I know Buckeye fans will remember it in this Illinois game. The ABC, whoever was broadcasting it, they focused on Bosa on one play, and we saw him triple teamed. Well, he still got in a count late, but he did still beat the triple team. But what it did was allowed Michael Hill to get inside, and he pressured the quarterback, almost got a sack. When you're tying up that much manpower on one guy, the other guys can just wreak havoc. And in this case, now with Hill in there, instead of two other guys trying to wreak havoc, you got three. All three of them are. So the defensive line is going to be key on both sides. I think the Buckeyes have the better defensive line. Defense is playing really well right now. And we got to remember, Alabama won 2 national championships with just big, physical, tough defenses and good running attacks. And that's what we're looking at with the Buckeyes. And we can throw the ball better than Alabama teams that have won national championships have thrown it. So I'm still highly optimistic that we're going to win this thing again.
Now, this isn't...
We're going to do it different. We're going to do it different. It'll be a defensive team. The way it's going right now, it's going to be the defense that wins it for us, and I'm perfectly fine with winning championships with defense. I think that's where you win championships.
I'll take a championship any way you can give it to me. Speaking of the defensive line, this is going to be the last home game for any Buckeye headed to the NFL. We'd have no idea what that number looks like right now. I think it's going to be very high if they win the national championship. But one guy I think you can guarantee is leaving and has addressed it as much as Joey Bosa. Put into context, if you can, where do you think Bosa ranks in the annals of Buckeye defensive ends? Keep in mind, he started pretty much from day one, and his first-year statistics actually match up to J.J. Watt's last year in college. So if you could put Bosa in context, maybe in a little bit of what kind of pro you think he'd be, that'd be awesome.
I think that you can put Joey Bosa in with the best that have ever played at Ohio State. Strong side defensive end, I think there's a very good argument that he's the best that's ever played. I think about Will Smith in recent years, a first-round draft pick. I don't think that Will Smith had as complete a game as Joey Bosa does. Joey Bosa, he's a great pass rusher from the weak side, from the strong side, but he could play weak side in. He can play the three technique. He's the most versatile guy, and against the run, he's just as nasty. I believe that Joey Bosa goes in the top 5 in the draft. I believe that for a while there, not so much, but now his form in the last 5 or 6 games, since he's really gotten back in the groove, everyday practice and everything after the suspension, I think that he's playing at a rate that, going into the season there was talk that he's the best player in college football, and right now he probably is. If you're looking at the draft from just everybody drafts for need, you have to draft for need. So really, it's a matter of who's the best guy at the position of need. But when you just look at overall, who's the best defensive lineman, the best football player in college football, the best football player in the draft, I think that Joey Bosa is the best football player in the draft. The way he's playing right now, I mean, watching him beat that triple team last week, that was incredible. And he still nearly made the play. So just a unique athlete. We're going to miss him. It would be great to have him for another year. Don't go out there thinking pipe dreams that he's coming back. He's not. I know his little brother is dear to him, but he's not going to do that. We're just not going to be. We're going to be rebuilding next year. And like you said about the guys going early, I think winning it again means even more guys go. They know the run is over. Too many guys are going. Too many guys are seniors, and too many guys are going early. We're not going to be the same team. I don't want to come back to that. So and going pro. But Joey Bosa is going to be the first Buckeye off the board. There's no question. Strong side defensive ends. I don't know if we've ever seen one taken number 1 overall, but that could change. He's that good. And the fact that he can play the three technique quite well. He's very disruptive when we slide him down inside. Tackles have a hard enough time lining up against him and shadowing him and trying to stay in front of him. Guards really don't have a chance. He's so overmatches them just with quickness and athleticism. Unique athlete. I would say best defensive lineman I've seen at Ohio State. Both against the run and against the pass, Joey Bosa.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. When you look at NFL prospects, you never want to see somebody as bust-proof, but I don't see any scenario by which he's not a really productive NFL player. His pedigree, his technique, it looks like he can still gain some weight. So we're going to miss Joey Bosa. Thankfully, those of you who purchased a 97 jersey will likely get at least 3 more years of wear out of that, considering his brother is coming and it's supposed to be fantastic. We appreciate Dwayne for joining us. Don't forget the Bucknuts ESPN College Game Day Chat.